Hey guys, Christian X and welcome to this video. Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry has an interesting history when it comes to its creation. Originally starting out as Resident Evil 4, the plan for it to be that was scrapped as Capcom didn't want to stray too far from the traditional survival horror formula, but they did see promise in what they had made, so they turned it into its own thing, and thus Devil May Cry was born. Following the tale of a half-demon, half-human hybrid known as Dante, the game did amazingly well critically and commercially, spawning 3 other entries. One that sucked, one that's a goddamn masterpiece, and the 4th one. 4th one's alright. However, despite the success of the series with the help of its director, Hideaki Itsuno, if I mispronounced that name at all, I am terribly sorry, Capcom decided to reboot the series and gave the job to UK development team Ninja Theory, although Itsuno would in fact oversee production as supervising director, yet not the main director. Yeah, Itsuno truly was the supervising director for DmC. Given some major differences in this game, I do not blame anyone for potentially not knowing that, given the amount of hate both Capcom and NT had gotten from fans to the point of death threats being thrown at them, and the fact that, no joke, fans started a petition to get President Obama to intervene and cancel the release of the game, which I'm pretty sure is breaking some ground rules about the First Amendment. I can only wonder just how bad hey, those scores don't look so bad at all. Yeah, despite the massive backlash DmC Devil May Cry got from fans, the game ranges from an 83 to 86 on Metacritic, depending on the version and port. In fact, even though fans do enjoy the definitive edition, which I will be reviewing, critics were a tiny less excited about it seems. Still, is this game really that damn bad that fans threw death threats at Ninja Theory for years? Well, depending on who's watching this, you may not like what I have to say. Well, let's take a look at DmC Devil May Cry. Oh, right. There will be major spoilers in this video as I will be covering the story in detail. Especially considering that people didn't really like the story apparently, I guess. I don't know. So this is your warning, and I will not blame you if you end up leaving, nor will I fault you for not knowing the story of a game that's been out for 6 years. Especially since there are games out there that I don't know the story about that have been out for ages. I'd say Secret of Mana is an example. It's also an example of one that I despise. By the way, I'm doing the Xbox One version because I'm a filthy achievement whore! Also, that image is pretty cool looking, not gonna lie. So the game begins with the main villain on the phone negotiating a deal of some kind.
No, this is not a veiled threat. This is a direct one. You have a good night, Mr. President.
Oh hey, this must be how most of Putin's conversations with Donald Trump go. Don't worry, that's the only political jab I'll make. I think anyway. So this main villain is Mundus the Demon King, accompanied by his mistress, Lilith, of Jewish mythology I presume. Seriously, Google it, it's quite a read. Mundus then has worry about Dante, who is clearly too occupied to save the world as he's at a strip club. And then he brings 2 of them home to fuck. To the tune of a rather interesting song. Okay, I'm gonna have to say that this isn't so much emo or edgy as Devil May Cry fans would claim of this game, but it is admittedly a bit out there. It's not what I'd expect from a protagonist of a game about saving the world from demons. I get this is a reboot, and it can be its own thing, unrelated to the original series in a number of ways. But this admittedly isn't the best start to introduce us to Dante. Also, neither is his indecent exposure in public. Kinda. So this girl, later introduced as Kat, is here to warn Dante of a hunter coming for him, immediately leading to the hunter... I'm sorry, I can't just skip over that. How old is Kat in this one? Oh. Not finding anything aside from someone's guess that her age is 19, and... You know what, maybe this is why they never hint at their ages. As I was saying, Kat warns Dante of a hunter, which immediately leads to Dante getting dressed in a rather over-the-top manner to the tune of a rather kick-ass sounding song. And so the game truly begins already with a major difference. The missions all take place in a sort of limbo place, with Dante usually having to fight his way out of it and back to the human dimension. See, in the original series, demons and humans, I guess, coexist in the real world as far as we've seen. Here they're still separated in some way, although not so separated that destroying a Ferris wheel in Limbo manages to cause the one in the real world to destroy half of the pier. I suppose this is where I'll start explaining the gameplay overall. It's actually really damn good. Over time, you're given new weapons to use, with certain ones being required to take down the defenses of certain enemies, as well as allowing you to work your way up with getting a high rank in both combat and the mission itself. Though one thing bugs me about it. See, in the vanilla version, that is the PS3 360 PC version, at least I think PC version, you have 2 buttons to evade, but unlike in the original series, no lock-on. However, in the definitive edition, they added in the lock-on feature, but it largely feels shoehorned in just to appease the fans' complaints about it not being in the original version. See, the alternate weapons are each mapped to a trigger button on the controller, with the idea being that you can use a certain weapon and use the shoulder button opposite of whatever trigger button you're holding down for that weapon to have an easy time dodging attacks. However, because of fan outrage, they replaced one of the evade buttons with a lock-on feature, which honestly wasn't even needed. There's a reason why when replaying this I had zero memory of how the lock-on looked. It's because I barely ever really needed it. Hell, even against a specific recurring enemy in Drakavik, I hope I pronounced that right, I really didn't need to use lock-on with him for the most part. Though I did end up having trouble regardless and thus relied on something else. But I'll get to that something in a bit. As for the weapons in question, again, they're unlocked over time, along with the abilities to use 2 of the weapon's extra abilities as a sort of grappling hook, with the left trigger one being known as Angel Pull, giving you the chance to grapple to things, while the right trigger, known as Demon Pull, grapples things closer to you. It's honestly done pretty damn well here, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to use. If I'm not mistaken, this is basically inspired by the Devil Bringer in Devil May Cry 4, and they kinda expanded on that, which I gotta say, again, is pretty damn cool. There's also an Angel Boost, which is basically a means to fly through the air for a second to gain extra distance and close whatever gap is keeping you from landing. Probably my favorite weapons to use are the Eryx and the Revenant. I hope I pronounced those right too. The Eryx is kind of what Ifrit was in the original game, in that they are fiery fists used to straight up deck your enemies, and it is so damn satisfying to use, especially with the impact noises. As for the Revenant, it's basically a shotgun, but it too, again, for the impact noises, is so satisfying to use. And admittedly a better one than how it sounds in the original too. And of course, Devil Trigger is in this game too. I will admit, the cutscene it's unlocked in makes it rather look edgelord-like with the red eyes and veiny appearance, but Devil Trigger itself, which was that something else I alluded to earlier, is not that bad actually. I will admit, I was turned off by this at first because it causes the enemies to stay suspended in midair, thus making it a struggle to reach them. However, I, being the dummy that I am, had forgotten that I could just grapple them down with Demon Pull and just wail on them with the added strength and advantage. And once I realized that, I grew more fond of it. I didn't abuse it though, that'd probably just screw with any game balance. I have to say though, the camera can be a bit rough, even in this definitive edition version. So while you can go without the lock-on, you'll likely struggle a bit with the camera and how you'll need to tell what enemies are coming at you and such. There's also another thing I gotta praise, the art direction. The environments in Limbo and in this game are just so damn pretty and unique that I can't help but admire how the scenery looks. Also, there are collectibles of sorts. First up are the Lost Souls. They're, well, lost souls, who basically need to be freed from their damnation, and the reward is a few red orbs which are used to buy items in this game. The others involve keys that help unlock secret rooms, each containing a mission to do that rewards you with what's basically a piece of heart. I largely avoided them and just tried to upgrade my health through the store instead, which by the way I'm not the biggest fan of. Largely because items get more expensive each time you buy them, but in all fairness, this is apparently done to try and encourage less item usage, and to be better at the game itself, thus going for a higher rank. I still do not like it, I'm sorry. Okay, I think I've rambled on long enough about the game's mechanics. Let's get back to the story. What were we up to again?
It's working. You can fight him out. It won't be easy.
I birthed you from my mind vagina.
So with that out of the way. By the way, see this clip?
Not in a million years.
Yeah, I'm sure it stings, but just hold on to it for a bit. It'll be important later. So the hunter is defeated and cut to days later, I think, as Dante gets picked up by Kat. Okay, she's old enough to drive, so maybe she is 19, but still. As Kat explains, she's part of something called the Order. A group of freedom fighters fighting against the regime, with her boss being Dante's long-lost brother, Virgil. He explains that Dante isn't human and that his amnesia, yeah, they went that route, was not a result of meningitis, which, by the way, is a pretty scary condition. By the way, also this clip.
Not just for yourself, but for mankind. For mankind? Yes. Makes you think I give a shit.
Again, keep that in mind. It'll be important. So it's revealed that Dante is a, quote, Nephilim, in that he's half angel and half demon. The Demon King Mundus found out about him and his family, and straight up ate Eva, the mother's, heart, and put Sparta, the father, through endless torment in hell for all eternity. As a result of getting his memories back with that, he comes on board to fight Mundus and free mankind from his rule. First off the chopping block is a succubus, who helps produce a soft drink that's basically a lobotomy in a can. So does that mean her love juices make it? I have no idea if that's hot or not. I don't know if I want to either. On the way, Dante and Kat start to connect through their inner turmoils. I'm not kidding, and I will admit it's kinda emo to discuss it, but to be fair, Devil May Cry original series had this line.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
Oh, that's good cheese.
Look into your own heart. To see if you are still sane. Or if you can still call yourself human.
To counteract this scene. There is no way in hell you can't tell me that that isn't some edgelord shit. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's literally edgelord shit. So we finally get to meet the ever-gorgeous, lovely, ever-so voluptuous Lord Almighty. What the fuck is that? That's the succubus? That's not a succubus, that's a bagworm covered in pop zits! Well, the succubus is defeated, gross, and I gotta admit, despite how I'm not fond of them showing Mundus' face close up as he literally pounds Lilith to the point where she has to readjust her skin. Play the song. I could have sworn it was Wolf. The exchange they have about it is kinda funny.
My succubus is dead.
Betrayed him. What of him?
Next on the chopping block is Bob Barker, head newscaster of the Raptor News Network, who is used to feed lies and propaganda to the people in an attempt to keep them coddled. Insert Fox News joke here. As we head to send Dante to limbo below ground, we learn more about Kat and her relationship with Virgil.
He rescued me. I was in a foster home. My foster father was a demon. He attacked me most nights. I had to get out. I couldn't physically escape, so I found another way. I aimlessly wandered limbo in spirit form.
Good lord. You know, as a guy who has dealt with abuse in a number of ways, I feel like I connect with this situation.
I killed the bastard.
I mean, I don't blame her. It was self-defense after all. So yeah, Kat's a Wiccan of sorts. Also, her hair is cute. Fight me. So Dante starts to head towards RNN, but stops to help an old friend of his father's in Phineas, who is the guy that helps him unlock his inner potential somewhat, which net says Devil Trigger. Like I said earlier, it took some understanding for this power-up, even if him first using it feels edgy. And of course, to compare... The Edge! You know what, I feel like I've bashed the original series enough to really point out this disclaimer. I made sure to play the original series to prepare for this review, and in all honesty, I love the original Devil May Cry series. With the exception of the second entry. I'm just saying that the original series has its own fair share of emo-ness, its edgelordness, and its like cheese factor, honestly. I'm not saying that that makes the series bad, I'm just saying that they have their own skeletons in their closets that apparently people seem to ignore a lot, yet focus on it when it comes to DmC. Okay? I'm not hating the series at all. I love this series. I just feel like we are kind of like having our mixed priorities, you know? Phineas also lets us in on a little secret. It turns out that Lilith is kept around Mundus because she's pregnant with Mundus's child and wants us to kill Lilith in order to get at Mundus's goat, even though it could get tons of people killed.
Mainly, I just want to kill the demon king named Mundus.
And if you do kill Mundus, who would take his place?
Can I just say that I love Dante's reaction there? It's like the equation confusion meme. He's just like, shit, I don't think I thought of that. Of course you didn't. You're not the brains here. I'm sorry. And so we fight Bob Barker, who is apparently some kind of digital entity in the demon world a la Zordon from Power Rangers. But honestly, this boss fight's freaking awesome. It keeps you on your toes and requires you how to use your head with, okay, it's not that complex, but it's still pretty fun and engaging. However, during this boss fight, we discovered that Mundus has found out where the Order is located, so as soon as we beat Bob, we gotta go and try and rescue Virgil and Kat. However, Dante and Virgil are stuck in limbo during it because every level takes place in limbo, I guess, and Kat can't join them, unfortunately, so Dante tries to help her be as safe as she possibly can. Kinda.
Hey, listen to me. We don't have much time. Get down on your knees. Put your hands up. Do not fight back.
I'm scared. What will they do to me?
Well, probably not much, given that you're white. Sorry, I can't hear. Too busy being woke. Although, given that she's a woman... You know what, I'm not even gonna touch that. That's an entire other situation, I'm sure. So they shoot her anyway, kick her endlessly, and capture her. Mundus offers her up to trade for Dante, but Dante decides they should try and kidnap Lilith because of the unborn child. I'm sorry, that was just kind of funny. Also,
I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. You just made the list!
but in a good way, surprisingly. So Dante reaches Lilith and has to fight Mundus's unborn child in limbo. Yes, that happens, and it's as gross and fucked up as you'd expect. We succeed and offer Lilith up for Kat. Okay, so far so good. Wait, Virgil, why are you aiming at...
Fuck.
Okay, quick thing. Did anyone notice how actually big that gap was from seeing just the edge of it on the screen? That is messed up, man! So this, obviously, angers the hell out of Mundus, bringing the wrath of 1,000 angry incels on humanity. Okay, maybe incels won't be that devastating to humanity. We barely even escape, and it bugs me that there are apparently collectibles in this mission because we're fucking tired with trying to save Kat and Virgil, you fucks! So the show must go on as Kat, despite still being wounded, says she knows the innards of Mundus' building because her soul went through limbo in order to really survive the torture she went through. Oh, if only it were that easy to escape your problems. Although, in all fairness, this does show just how useful she is and how she really isn't a damsel in distress as people seem to claim.
She was right. This is hell. We make quite the team. I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better looking. And I got a bigger dick.
Yeah, no, I can't really defend that. That was just cringy. I gotta say, though, the voice acting in this scene particularly is really great. Mundus showing a bit of sadness in the way he speaks at first with how his child died.
Why did you kill my child? I will ask you again. Why did you kill my child?
And Dante playing it up to anger him long enough to get him away from the portal that he uses to do his demon work. It's all really well acted here.
I gotta tell you, killing your child like that, watching it explode into little wet chunks, hearing you scream like one of you little demon bitches, priceless.
So Virgil destroys a portal, thus merging the human world and demon world, potentially resulting in tons of people getting killed. People didn't like this, but here's the thing. Demons living in the human world was already common in the original series, and you almost never see any other humans other than the main characters of the series. Those that you do see are either already attacked by demons, or apparently Thanos'd by a tree. This also results in a big battle with Mundus' new demon form, which I swear looks like Magnanimous from Dial M for Monkey. So we beat him, and Dante and Virgil look at all the destruction they've wrought when trying to save the city. You and I both know the SpongeBob episode that fits this. So, that's pretty much everything I guess I can say about DmC Devil May Cry. Honestly, is it really as bad as they say? Wait, why does it say next mission? There's one more? Huh. Okay then. So Dante, Cat, and Virgil oversee what they've done, but I still don't see why this is...
It's clear for us to roll. What did you just say?
What?
Humans are frail. They're like children.
What? Yep, you saw and heard that right. Virgil is the bad guy here. He manipulated both Dante and Cat for his own gain, and he wanted to take out Mundus so that he could be the new Demon King and rule in his place. And if you clue in that the comic tie-ins show that Virgil and Cat fell in love, yes, that was a thing, and Virgil erased their memories of the events that led to it, it shows that Virgil didn't actually do it to protect them both, but rather to make sure he doesn't get distracted from his plans at hand. Especially with how he apparently views humans as lower life forms compared to him and Dante. Good lord, that is pretty fucking evil. It of course leads to a battle between the two, which leads to Dante fully awakening his powers with white hair that's a bit longer and all, proclaiming himself as a protector of the human race. But not before almost killing his brother out of anger for his betrayal. That, yeah, I'm sure you think that's a bit much. So, remember when I said to keep in mind that clip where he denounces the idea of long white hair? Well, now he's rocking a look that fits that, but with the white hair being a bit less long than his older look. And, remember when I said to keep in mind this?
Not just for yourself, but for mankind. Mankind? Yes. What makes you think I give a shit?
Yeah, according to this ending, there was actual character development here! So, some people apparently thought that Dante and Cat became a couple and there was forced romance or whatever. Thing is, as mentioned before, Virgil and Cat were the romantic couple originally, with Cat largely being loyal to Virgil due to possibly leftover feelings of the fiasco in the comic. As for Dante's relationship with Cat, it isn't romantic like people thought. In fact, he sees Cat as someone who has helped him understand humility and compassion, similarly to how original Dante had learned to keep his humanity, seeing that his problems of wanting vengeance pale in comparison to the crap that Cat went through. At some point during their relationship, Dante decided that while he wanted vengeance, it was more important to protect the human race, seeing Cat as an example of the good in humanity itself. Did nobody get this? Did nobody fucking understand how much actual thought and effort went into making this, the game? And the lore? No! Because an incredibly vocal minority, and I mean incredibly vocal minority, of the fandom was too busy hating the reboot because of nostalgia and judging it by a book's cover. Shame! This actually kind of hurts a little, I should stop that. So Virgil runs away, setting things up for the DLC. Dante has an identity crisis, very short-lived in fact, because Cat assures him of who he is, and they walk off. That's it. Now, I do want to quick go over the DLC, but not in full detail. First off, the art style of the cutscenes is really damn good, I'm just saying. As for the story, Virgil basically dies, fights apparitions of Cat and Dante that haunt him, breaks the heart of his mom, beats an apparition of him that straight up manipulated him into doing what he did, and comes back to life as a Demon King, ready to face Dante once more. Honestly, this DLC is a damn good one as it looks into Virgil's descent into egomaniacal and twisted insanity. It can get pretty unnerving with it too. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is DmC Devil May Cry. Is it really the worst thing ever? Fuck no! It's a good game! However, while I in no way will ever condone death threats in any form, there is some validity to the anger in the fandom. See, Capcom at the time was already making some poor decisions, such as the cancellation of all Mega Man games, which includes the decision to reboot Devil May Cry. However, Ninja Theory, while not deserving death threats in any way, weren't exactly saints either. Their means of promoting the reboot were seen as largely homophobic and racist, with one claim saying that they were making Dante look like a stand-in for a school shooter even. Now, again, I'm never condoning death threats, but I can see why people were upset and perceived it as bigoted. However, the reason as to why they perceived it as bigoted is that they were promoting the reboot by insulting the original series as much as they could. Their claims that original Dante was a gay cowboy, among other things, which kinda sounds fucking rad, was not meant to be positive, which is why they got hate for it, and is likely why the game itself was seen as terrible despite the review scores. Like, you'd think that given that the fandom was already upset with the series rebooting and whatnot, that they wouldn't try to upset them further, but nope. Now again, the fandom isn't exactly perfect with this either. Though with the recent announcement of the original series continuing, fans seem to still not be over the reboot. I mean, when it came to Wind Waker, people hated it because it was a different art style, but when Twilight Princess was announced, they didn't keep bashing it to no end. They ended up learning to appreciate it for what it was, and even changed their tune about the art style, calling it one of the best of all of the series. So with that said, I feel like the fans could give DMC another chance, especially now that Devil May Cry 5 is happening. Hell, I'd even like to see the reboot, now considered a spin-off in an alternate dimension, continued alongside it. Though, given that Microsoft now owns Ninja Theory, that'll be hard to do. If it is done, Ninja Theory has apparently showed some maturity on their end, given their work on the critically acclaimed Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which, by the way, is available on the Switch thanks to a working relationship between Nintendo and Microsoft. Go figure. So if it does get continued as a side series, it could end up helping to explain some things, and maybe DMC Dante would be seen as a bit more likable as a result. In fact, even if it doesn't happen, Devil May Cry 5 has some similarities to the reboot, such as the announcer stating when you get an S, SS, or SSS rank in a fight, Nero's more outgoing attitude and appearance being rather similar to DMC Dante, and the camera control without it including fixed angles, among other things anyway. Hell, Hideaki Itsuno said he wanted to do DMC 2 before being convinced to continue the original series, so he probably wanted to make it so he felt like he was doing just that. In fact, Itsuno even assured people that the original series continuing wasn't a jab at DMC or Ninja Theory, stating that they love DMC and that it's just as important to them as the rest of the series. In the end, I don't 100% feel comfortable with a 5th entry due to the whole death threat for years fiasco, as I don't think they should reward those fans with it, but at the same time, you shouldn't punish the good for the actions of the bad, let alone the many for the actions of the few, even if allegedly the bad is about half of them, which I admittedly am starting to find as bullcrap. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I felt genuine excitement when seeing Lady and Trish in the new trailer because I, like many Devil May Cry fans, made a connection with these characters. We resonated with them and wanted to see them continue their adventures. Besides, even if the series wouldn't be continued, here's the thing, reboots aren't meant to be 100% like the original. They're supposed to be adapted for a new audience, for a new generation of people. Not only that, but no matter what, a reboot will never be able to touch the memories and history you have of the original. They can always go back to enjoy the original series that the reboot will never be able to touch. So even if DMC doesn't have Dante riding a missile like a surfboard, you still have Devil May Cry 3 to go back to and enjoy. Basically, you got the original series back, so why waste your energy hating something that's not the norm of the series now? So yeah, DMC Devil May Cry is nowhere near as bad as people make it out to be, and I recommend you check it out yourself. I don't 100% know about the vanilla version, the most I played was a demo of it, but there are a few fans that say to check out the definitive edition instead, and even say that they would have been more fine with it if the vanilla version was like the definitive edition. So I guess try that version out over the PS3 360 port then. Either way, I've had a bit of a blast with DMC, but I'm still looking forward to the return of the old faithfuls of Devil May fucking Cry. And besides, I think we can all agree on one thing at least. Devil May Cry 2 is the worst entry in the series, reboot included. Hello?
Yeah. Remember when you said you'd review Kirby 64, you son of a bitch?
Whoops.
Just kidding, it's all good. You know, whenever you get around to it. You son of a bitch!